you built a network with people like Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Andrea Bocelli, like so many awesome, truly remarkable entrepreneurs and influential people. How did you approach them? How did you connect with these amazing people? A lot of times people don't understand that entrepreneurship is not some get rich quick scheme, right? It is more about the ups and downs that are always gonna be there no matter what happens. So how do you deal with the downs when you have it in your business? How's your experience been working with Elon Musk? What's up, everyone? Welcome to Breaking Boundaries with Aditi, where we delve deep, inside the minds of extraordinary individuals who are making a difference in their fields. And I'm your host, Aditi Jain. And today we have the privilege of sitting down with an amazing entrepreneur. He's the founder and CEO of luxury concert service Bluefish. He founded like the first high-end luxury concierge through which I've arranged things like, private dinners with Michelangelo's David while being serenaded by Andrea Bocelli. And he's quoted as the real life Wizard of Oz, by Forbes and Entrepreneur magazines. He's been featured into multiple prints, media, everywhere. He's worked closely with people like Elon Musk, and he's one of the top rated speaker and keynoting at a variety of networks, groups, and associations, including Harvard. And after saying all of these things, I'm thinking that this is going to be a really, really interesting conversation. So really love for you to share your origin story and how did you create this big brand for yourself?
Wow, that's actually a much tougher question than it sounds. For a start, my journey is no different to yours. It's no different to any entrepreneur. And that was the funny thing that kind of caught me. Whenever I spoke to any of the entrepreneurs that I was able to connect with, we all shared a lot of similarities. We may have been different generations. We may have been different locations, different cultures, but we all shared the exact same thing. And there were two things. One of them, aggravation. We didn't like where we were. We didn't like our surroundings. We didn't like our financial situation. We didn't like where we were living. There was this aggravation that something wasn't right. That was one thing. Harness that. People will hope for things while sitting in their armchair and do nothing about it. But if you're aggravated, you'll get out of that armchair. So aggravation is a great fuel to make something happen. If you need to repaint the wall, the aggravation will do it. The hope won't. If you want to get slimmer, going to the gym, well, the aggravation will cause you to do that, but hope won't. So aggravation is a wonderful tool to have. The second thing, curiosity. Now, I noticed that people were literally sitting there going, why am I here and that person's not? Why have they got a better job than me? Why are they going to that restaurant and I'm not? Why are they having those friends circle or that restaurant? So there was that curiosity, and that curiosity grows. Now, as children, excuse me, just getting over a cough. I apologize. As children, we had that curiosity. And then as we get older, our parents kind of beat it out of us. To kind of like, grow up, know your way, stick to what you're good at. Yet as children, we're very curious. Now, I'm telling you, stay curious. And every entrepreneur, whether it be Elton John, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Michelle Obama, whoever, they always look at things and they go, well, why does it have to be done that way? Why can't we try a different thing? Why can't we see what that button does? So when you marry aggravation with curiosity, you get jet fuel. And things happen when you've got those. So as a kid, I was growing up in East London, and I don't care if it's India, I don't care if it's like Los Angeles, but in London, I was there going, hang on a minute, I know how to work hard, but I'm not making a lot of money. All of my friends are poor, and therefore maybe I got the wrong friends. Maybe I'm having the wrong conversations. Maybe I'm in the wrong rooms. So that curiosity married with the aggravation that, hey, I can be better than this, caused me to make a lot of mistakes. I started getting jobs that I wasn't qualified for. I was having conversations with people that I couldn't have conversations with, but I got better. And the thing that you need to understand, and I work with a lot of people from India, so I know you know this. The first time you do anything, it won't be that good because you've never done it before.
Yeah.
But when you keep doing it for 6 months and a year and 2 years, you become better than 95% of the planet purely and simply because you stuck with it and you refined and tweaked and edited and got better. So, be prepared to make mistakes, learn from those mistakes, change path if those mistakes signal that it doesn't work, but take those mistakes as the incredible education that it has, stick that in with your curiosity and aggravation, and you'll be fine.
That's really powerful, literally, and the point you mentioned about curiosity, like my first podcast, it was with Katie Richardson, and she was always talking. She did a complete session about curiosity and shared that. I would like to share her little bit of over here because she is a mom who has over 3 to 4 kids, and she was having her another kid, and at that time she was just so curious about entrepreneurship that she had no financial stability, yet she quit her job because she was so passionate and just curious, and now she's built a multi-million-dollar business.
Yeah, it does that. I've got a podcast, and I've been running my podcast for, I think, like 5 years. And I've always refused to get it sponsored. I've always refused to make any money from it because I just wanted to do it because I enjoyed it. And then a little while ago, I checked up to see what my rankings were, and it was in the top 0.5% in the planet. Now, I'm going to say quite openly, I don't think it's the best podcast in the planet. I have fun, but it's for me. But I think I'm up there purely and simply because most people don't stick with it. So I'm winning purely and simply by staying in the game.
That's powerful. That's really powerful. Awesome. And before, I am really curious about this one thing, that how's your experience been working with Elon Musk?
I get that question a lot. So I've worked with some very famous entrepreneurs, and I've worked with some billionaires that you've never heard of. I've worked with some very powerful people from India. And every single one of them is the exact same, whether it's Elon Musk, Raj Tata, any of these people. They have that curiosity, but they don't chit-chat. They don't care what you watched on TV. They don't care what you had for dinner last night. The conversations are like, oh, it's great to meet you. What are you working on? Why are you working on that? Why do you think you are the person that can actually build that? How can I help you? They realize that they can make more money. They can build another company, but they can't make more time.
Yeah.
And therefore, every hour, every 10 minutes, they're constantly thinking, they're constantly trying to make the most out of that hour. They are living as much as they can in that moment. And that's been the standard thread through all successful entrepreneurs, that they've realized that time is the only thing they can't control. And so in which case, they use it. They utilize it. They benefit from it.
That's powerful. And how you build a network of people like, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Sting, Andrea Bocelli, like so many awesome, truly remarkable entrepreneurs and influential people. Like, how did you approach them? How did you connect with them? What's like the secret sauce? So when I was actually coming on this podcast, like I asked my clients that, do you have any specific questions? He's like, just ask them this question: how did you connect with these amazing people?
Well, the easy thing is to tell them they can find it in the book Go for Stupid. But I know you're going to give them the link where they can get that for free. So that's good news. My first conversation wasn't with Elon Musk. Okay. My first conversation was just with someone successful in my area. And I remember the first time I had a conversation with them, because let's be serious. And this sounds very rude, but I want to be blunt. Having a conversation with someone that's got a poor mindset is not going to benefit anyone. Having a conversation with someone who has a successful mindset is going to benefit everyone. So I wanted to have conversations with successful people, but I didn't know how. So in the early stages, I would find someone as successful, and I would be, I don't know, like a little kid on his first date. I'd be like, oh, hey, I need to ask you, hey, how come you're rich? How come you're successful? I need to know.
Steve, why we need to know?
Yeah, exactly. And I never got any answers.
Yeah.
Because I learned very early on, if you want an amazing answer, ask an amazing question. And that wasn't an amazing question. It was also a question that helped me, not them. So I never got any interaction. I never got any relationships. I realized I was repelling people, not attracting them. So I realized that the problem was actually in the question. Every single time, the problem was in the simple thing. I was asking the wrong question. So bit by bit, I learned to lower my tempo. I learned to relax a little bit more. I learned delivery, which is a very important thing. How to deliver a question.
Yeah.
And so I learned these things. And I remember in the early stages, I used to say to people, hey, I'm just curious. You're very successful. I wanted to ask you, how come you're rich when so many other people are not? Yep. Now, if you noticed, my tempo was much more relaxed. My delivery was a lot better. But the question was bad. Because if I ask you how rich you are, it's quite a rude question, isn't it? You know, a lot of people don't want to tell you how rich they are. They don't want to give you just a number. You saying to me, hey, how rich are you? And me going, well, you know, $1,357,000. That doesn't help you. That's just a number, you know?
Yeah.
So I realized, again, I'm asking the wrong question. So then I would say to people, hey, I'm just wondering, everyone knows you're very wealthy. How come you're wealthy and so many other people are not? So again, delivery's good. Question sounds good. But I tweaked the word rich to wealthy. Now, here's the problem. A lot of people were saying to me, oh, it's because I found religion and I met my wife and we joined a church and we realized we had to give back. I'm not going to marry your wife or join your church. So this didn't help me. So again, I wasn't asking a great question. So I'm constantly tweaking it. And then I remember one day I met someone. He owned a supermarket, a grocery store. He wasn't Elon Musk. He wasn't Richard Branson, but he owned like about 3 grocery stores in my local town. So he was doing quite well and he was expanding. And I remember asking him one day, hey, you know, everyone knows that you're successful, but what would be the one thing that you would say, the reason that you are successful and so many other people are not? And that was it. That was the question. All of a sudden, they were being challenged with the question of why they're successful. And the beautiful thing is, success mindset is an action. Yeah. It's a direction. You know, if you want to be rich, you don't look at the bank account, you do something about it. That's what gets you the money. If you want to be slim, you don't buy a diet book and just look at it. You action it. You change your diet. You change your exercise. So all of these elements are the reaction of the action. But the beautiful thing about a successful mindset is that's the action. You literally forget how much money is in your bank account. When you've got a successful mindset, when you get off your chair, you're taller, you're stronger, you're more aggravated, you're more powerful. And I started getting this information. So I started to go around to, I've asked the Vatican, I've asked Andrea Bocelli, I've asked Elton John, I've asked Richard Branson. I've asked all of these people and people that you've never heard of that are hugely successful. You know, what is the one thing that you believe is the reason that you're successful and so many other people? And sometimes I go, what are the 3 things that makes you successful when so many people are not? And just by asking that question, I get the information. Now, I know I may not look the smartest person in the planet, but I'm not dumb enough to ignore that information when it comes from hugely successful people. So I would just go away and I'd go, right, my head's going to start thinking like that. I'm going to value time differently. I'm going to value relationships differently. I'm going to look at projects differently. I'm going to look at opportunities differently. And when your mind looks at things differently, that's all you can see. Now, I'm just going to give one more point on this, and I'll use this as an example with you. You know, there'll be a time when someone's maybe wearing a jacket, or they buy a car, or they buy a handbag, and it's in a color that you haven't seen before. And you look at that color and you go, well, that's a strange color. I haven't seen that before. And then the next time you're out, what's the only color you can see? It's that color. You see, your mind sees what it's been opened to. So in a world of negativity, harm, hate, what does your mind see? It only sees that and confirms and clarifies and quantifies the world is full of hate. But if you can train your mind to see opportunity, good, positivity, then what's the only thing your mind can see? And that was one of the first things I learned. That's what you have to do.
Yeah. That's super powerful. Like your thoughts become your thoughts actually convert into action, right?
Your thoughts are the thoughts are what direct you. You will see, you will absorb, and you will react. Now, if you've only seen and absorbing negativity, you will react with negativity. But if you've only seen and absorbing opportunity and good, that's all you're going to see.
That's really powerful. Amazing. And Steve, you know, like a lot of times people, and since you've done so many great things, since you've done so many big things, work with all these amazing people, a lot of times people don't understand that entrepreneurship is not some get rich quick scheme, right? It is more about the ups and downs that are always going to be there no matter what happens. So how do you deal with the downs when you have it in your business?
So I have many downs, and I've always been an entrepreneur. And I think there's 2 things. If you look back in time and you look at some of your darkest moments, you lost a loved one. You got ripped off. Someone stole your money. Someone lied to you. You were in a relationship that wasn't good for you. It was bad for you, whether it be business or personal. You lost all of your money. If you look back at those moments, they are horrible.
Yeah.
But out of them, you got lessons. When you had a bad relationship, you now learned to recognize what a bad relationship is. So you focus on only good relationships. When you lose all of your money, you realize what you did that made you lose it. So you don't do that again. When you get sued, when you get lied to, when things happen in your life, it makes you stronger. And you suddenly look back and you go, if that hadn't have happened, I wouldn't have done that. Yeah. And that made me positive, wealthy, in a good relationship. So I've learned how to focus on relationships by having bad relationships. I've learned how to do good business by basically having some bad business thrust on me. I've learned how to make money because I lost money. So I've got all of these lessons. If I lost all of my money tonight, I've got relationships and I've got knowledge. So I've got these things that work with me now. So I can actually focus on them. When the down times come, you just have to go, okay, here we go again. What can I learn from these? And again, it's that mindset. When things go wrong, where's the education in this that can help me? And if you start looking at that, you'll suddenly notice something's going on in that bad moment. And you can go, oh, I've never seen that before. That's good. And you find that you never have the dips that you did when you were younger, because you've now got the education to seize the moment and to repair it quicker.
Right. That's amazing. And how, you said that, okay, that was an interesting epiphany that I just had, that, how do you actually train your mind to think like that? Because nobody knows how to do that. Only situations and circumstances can teach us those things. But is there any way that priorly we can do something to be able to get ready for these kind of stuff?
Yeah, they don't have to be your experiences for you to become educated. So if you put a sponge in a bucket of water, it'll absorb all the water. If you put that same sponge in a bucket of oil, it will absorb the oil.
Yeah.
It will only absorb the environment that you put it in. So with you, if you want to become more successful within your head and to learn and to benefit, what bucket are you going to stick your head in? You want to make sure that you listen to only positive podcasts. You want to read only positive books. You want to turn off the news and watch documentaries on success stories. You want to focus on Facebook groups, social groups. You want to look at your dynamic, your group, those people around you, and you go, is anyone in this group rude, narcissistic, mean? And get rid of them. And that's a tough thing to do. But I can guarantee you, whenever I get together with my friends, we're all positive, we're all challenging, we're all pushing. So all I'm absorbing is positivity. And again, when you've got these people around you, one of them may have a mistake and they will come to your group and they will go, this went wrong. This is what happened. Now, we can support them, but at the same time, absorb their education from their dark moment. And there's been many, many times when I've constantly focused on being in the right room, there's something's happened to me, and I've gone, hang on a minute, that happened to Jimmy. Let me either talk to Jimmy or let me find out from Jimmy how he repaired that. So you've got to make sure you are only absorbing the positivity. I've got a friend of mine that I used to coach, and he's a realtor. And he's got in a group now where they're all moaning about the interest rates. They're all moaning about politics. They're all moaning about the recession. And I spoke to him the other day, and he was very depressed. And I said to him, what has happened today that was different 6 months ago? And the answer is nothing. We were still in the same financial situation. The interest rates were the same. So what's happened in the last 6 months? It was his environment. He was now in a room full of toxic people that wanted to cry and blame. And when we had that conversation, he realized he was in the wrong bucket. He had to change the bucket and surround himself with positivity. He did that, I think, about a week ago, and he actually contacted me yesterday just by text. And the text, he was just more upbeat and stronger and going, hey, I realized this isn't working, so I'm focusing on this now.
Yeah.
And he looked for an alternative. So that's what you've got to do. You've got to surround yourself with people that are going to help you absorb what you need to absorb.
Amazing. And I want you to share one more thing about your book specifically, because before we started the podcast, how you were saying amazing things about the book. So can you share a little bit more to the audience that how can they claim this free book, and what
Yeah.
is it gonna help if they read it?
So I noticed that the most successful people, and I wrote this during COVID, I realized that the most successful people in the planet, those that you know, those that you don't know, they didn't go for basic goals. And a lot of the times, your goals and aspirations are holding you back because you don't know what you can achieve when you're pushed. So if you go for stupid, ridiculous goals, you won't win them all the time. But when you get back and if you want to go for $10 million and you fail, but you fail at 5 million. So the goal is make your goals ridiculous. And the people that we've spoken about, the Elon Musks, the Richard Bransons, they had ridiculous goals. I wrote the book. It became a bestseller. It's available in India. It's available in many places all over the world. But I decided to give it away for free. So if you go to goforstupid.com, you can see the entirety of the video chapters. I've done a video series where I will actually read you the book, and you can actually hear my voice, hear my tempo. It's at goforstupid.com, and you get it for free. I want you to surround yourself with the kind of positivity and the kind of ideas and nuggets in order for you to be able to come up with ridiculous goals. And then the book will teach you how to achieve them.
So the eventually the motive of the book is that how, so for example, if I say that I want to make $100 million, so like your book will teach me how can I do that.
Yeah, and the first thing it will do is if you want to make 100 million, it'll talk to you about how to make 250. So when you fail, you're above your original goal.
That's amazing. So it's goforstupid.com.
Yes.
All right. I'll be putting that link in the chat so that everyone can go and get access to the book. And I will definitely read this. Like I will probably get a hard copy of it from Amazon and read it. I like reading books. You can see my shelf behind. There's a lot of books.
I can, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll get a hard copy.
Good. Yeah, I know it got picked up in India. I think it was about 9 months ago. So I know it's available in India.
Wow, that's amazing. I'll definitely look for it. Thank you so much, Steve, for joining us today. It was an incredible conversation. Learned a lot of things, and really the audience would be really excited to see what you have created for them.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me.